Are you a first year teacher that needs to know what to do on day one of school? If so, keep watching. Hi everyone, my name is Marta and I am with Fun in Third. I am a third grade math and science teacher. So before we get started, I have my handy dandy notebook with me. If you want to know what to do on day one of your first class, this is what we're going to talk about today. But before we get started, I'm going to give a disclaimer. So it's summertime and I normally take a break from hair extensions and makeup during the summer. I don't know, all the ladies out there, you know what that is. So I am fresh face and natural hair today. Well, not natural, but you know what I mean. Anyhow, let's move right along. So today we're going to talk about 5 things that you can do to make it through day one of school. Have your sorting supply area ready. So you have went and picked your kids up from the cafeteria or the gym or wherever they're coming from, and when they get to your classroom, the area for their supplies ready, so that all they have to do is take their backpacks off, sort their supplies, and go to their seats. Okay, I know this may be something that's common, but when you're doing back to school, sometimes in the rush we tend to forget things, so I'm going to state the obvious first. So have your supply sorting area ready, and then we're going to move on to numbers. You want to have their seats already labeled and have their icebreaker activities ready to go when they come into the classroom. This may be an obvious thing also, but on the first day of school, you never know what kid they may drop in. You have parents coming in and walking kids to class, so you may be really busy. Meanwhile, you have your other kids that are already in the classroom and you want to make sure that they have something to do while you're getting kids checked in. So that might be an obvious one too. Have your rules, expectations, and procedures and systems for your classroom ready to go. You want to make sure you already have that in place and ready to go. So I'm going to do a separate video about that coming soon, about classroom expectations and procedures and systems. But these are things that you want to already have in place to go over with your students on day one, because day one is very, very important and it sets the standard for the remaining part of the year. Now, there is a difference between rules and expectations. And so expectations is something that you want to do with your students. You want to have them to get involved in expectations, which I'll do a separate video about later. So make sure your rules are your rules. You're going to have those set in place already, but expectations, you're going to go through those with your students, and they're going to create them themselves. Normally, I have my students create their own expectations, because if they create them, then they are more likely to stick to them than if they don't create them. So the more involved they are, the more likely they are to stick to them. So it's very, very important. Nip any disregard for your expectations and rules on the first day, the first time. So you're always going to have that student that's going to try it, going to try you. Nip it in the bud right away, because kids can see, they'll test the waters a little bit to see, if they can get away with it. And you want to make sure that you nip that right away, because if you don't, you'll lose them, and you'll lose them for the rest of the year. So that's another quick tip. This is the most important of all of the other tips, and that is to know how they're getting home on the first day of school. Now, there are a lot of schools that will give you your kids' information up front, and if so, that's great. But a lot of times, you really don't know transportation into maybe a couple of days before, or sometimes even the day of on some kids. So my tip is, don't wait until almost dismissal time to clarify any transportation issues with kids. Sometimes they don't know their bus number. Sometimes they don't know how they're getting home. You want to try to make sure that you find that information out and probably handle it before the midday. Because if you wait till time for transportation, the most important thing on the first day of school is getting them there and then getting them home safe. So make sure to clarify any transportation things. The earlier you do that, the better. And another thing that I kind of wrote down was to make sure all of your kids have bus tags. Those that ride buses, make sure that they have bus tags that are reusable, that you can use over and over and over again. So that was just 5 little tips that will help you to get ready for your first day of school in your first classroom. So we're going to do further videos this summer on classroom expectations, rules, and systems, which should be modeled. So if you're interested in that, look forward to my next video, and I'll see you soon. Bye.